So The Sims is sharing the next roadmap today, which is basically just a big teaser of everything coming to the game for the next few months. And they tend to release these quarterly, so we usually get about 4 per year, but they've really been going off script recently with their scheduling. We kind of had a roadmap in the beginning of the year, but it was shorter. You might remember this picture, which we're still kind of in the middle of. In this, they teased the whole 25th birthday celebration, and they also teased the Motherload season, which is today. So recently when they post these, they kind of theme the whole thing around a season of The Sims, and it's often been kind of themed around the expansion pack that comes out during that season. So this Motherload name is very interesting. And also these roadmaps have had a really big range of amount of detail they contain. Sometimes it'll literally just be a list of the packs that are coming, and it might say like 2 kits and 1 expansion pack and give no further information. Other times they might give us dates and the names of those packs, and there's gonna be like little teasers in the background. You really never know what you're gonna get with these roadmaps. And of course, in this video, we're gonna go through today's roadmap. We'll talk about all the things they actually said, and then we're gonna scour the background for details and see what we can figure out. I do have a little secret to share with you because they gave me this roadmap early so I could record this video. I reached out to them and I was like, hey, listen, my wedding is the weekend of The Sims 25th anniversary, and I know you have a lot of stuff planned. Is there any way that you could tell me like what's happening on what day? Just because I was kind of trying to plan for content. And obviously I had seen this February 6th date and I was like, oh my God, that's so stressful. That's so close to the wedding. So I reached out being like, hey, I know it's a long shot, but could you maybe share anything with me early? And they sent me the roadmap image early. So I'm feeling really sneaky right now, having access to this before everybody. This is not a normal circumstance. They were just being really nice to me because of the wedding, and I am very grateful to them for that because it's gonna make my life a lot easier next week. I still want to make videos about these things, but obviously I'm so busy with the wedding happening that I'm trying my best, okay? So here's the roadmap they sent me, and the quality of this image is not very good. I assume that when they post it, it'll be like the full high quality. I think it's probably gonna be a part of a video because they usually post a video for the roadmap, and I think that I have a bad screenshot from the video, but it's fine. We can still read it. We will work with what we've got for this today. And hopefully there's not anything extra in the video that I'm gonna miss because I only have this picture, but I'll link the full thing down below once it's posted. So they sent me this, but I've been trying to not look too closely at it so we could still record and have a reaction to it together. So I haven't really read through the whole thing yet. Obviously it's called the Motherload season, and the first thing is February 6th. It says businesses and hobbies expansion pack first look. So from my understanding, I think that means there's gonna be an expansion pack trailer tomorrow. Now, this is extremely inconvenient timing for me personally, because I was planning on taking the whole week off before the wedding. Instead, I'm gonna record a trailer reaction, one of the biggest things of the year for The Sims, a couple days before the wedding. It's fine. We're gonna get through it. It's gonna be fine. I know we're always joking about how they post stuff when I'm busy, but like seriously, they never do stuff in February, especially not early February. So there being an expansion pack trailer this week is just unbelievable. Out of all of the weeks of the year, the week of my wedding, it's almost laughable. Like, it's kind of funny that this keeps happening. I'm trying to tell myself that it's okay and it's a good thing. Obviously, the problem is that I can't make as much content on it as I would want, but maybe it's good that there's like this really exciting Sims thing happening that's a relatively easy video to record. Like, I don't have to script this or anything like that because it's just a reaction. So maybe it's good timing, and it's before the wedding. So I don't know. Businesses and hobbies though, can we talk about that for a second? I feel like that has been such a highly requested concept. Not the businesses part, but the hobbies aspect. I think a lot of the community has been talking about wanting a hobbies pack forever. My friend Molly, the English simmer, has been talking about this for like 10 years. She has been going on and on about wanting hobbies for The Sims 4. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean? Like, a lot of us really like that idea. So it feels like they're hearing us with this. I'm trying to not look too close at the images and like read the whole thing first, but I cannot take my eyes off of this pottery. I've been talking about pottery forever. Every year I make a video about my wish list for The Sims 4, and it's usually pretty far-fetched. And for multiple years in a row, I've had a whole PowerPoint slide about a list of hobbies that I want them to add. And the top of the list for years in a row has been pottery. I have been wanting it so bad. I just made this video like a month ago. And they're making pottery for real. I don't want to read into this too much, but like, come on. That is a pottery wheel. That is a sim using a pottery wheel. I have such high expectations for this. I'm going to talk a little bit more about specifics of this and like theories about this in a second. I want to finish reading it first. The next date is the 18th, and it says businesses and hobbies gameplay deep dive. So that'll be the live stream that the Sims team will do where they show off the full pack content. They do one of these for every pack. They'll kind of touch on the cast and the build. They'll go into the gameplay a little bit. They haven't set a time, but it will be on the 18th. So we're gonna get our first real look at the pack on that day. Because the trailer is one thing. The trailer is like a teaser almost. It's kind of like a highlight reel. The gameplay deep dive is like at least an hour of actual gameplay content. And then on the 25th, it just has an eye emoji. And I have no idea what to make of that. Going back to the original roadmap for a second, because this was on the original roadmap too. Same thing, just 225 eye emoji. And when I first read this, I thought that this was gonna be a pack trailer. That was my first assumption. I figured, oh, they're gonna drop the season, tease it on the 6th, and then the actual trailer would come out on the 25th. Obviously now we know that is not true because the trailer is on the 6th. And I don't think that it would be the gameplay trailer because we usually get 2 trailers per expansion pack. If it was the gameplay trailer, they would just say, because they listed everything else in a lot of detail. I also doubt they would announce another pack because they would also just say it here. They've announced everything else. And if I were them, I wouldn't announce a pack in between the pack announcement and release of something else. So then I was looking at my calendar trying to think about updates because maybe it's a base game update. The expansion pack launches on March 6th. That's a Thursday. They always have packs come out on Thursdays. It is like clockwork. There'll be a base game update on the Tuesday and then the pack will come out on the Thursday. It even happened last week with those kits. We got a small patch on Tuesday. Both the CC kits came out on Thursday. They do that consistently every single time. So following that schedule, you would assume that the base game update would be on the 4th, but the 25th is also a Tuesday. So it's possible that the update could come early. It's just over a week early, like a week and 2 days early. But I could see them dropping the update that day, and the updates before expansion packs are usually pretty big. This is kind of an extreme example, but if you think back to Growing Together, the update before Growing Together had infants. Sometimes we'll get major build features like platforms, terrain tools, things like ladders all came in updates before an expansion pack. Most recently, they changed how the occults work in cast, so you can do like the occult picker in cast now before life and death. So it's not that unreasonable to assume that there would be some sort of big base game feature coming before businesses and hobbies. That is a long name. That is a mouthful. I think I'm just a little bit wary of that assumption because there's already a massive update this month. Like they're doing the huge birthday update on the 4th, and then what, another big update on the 25th? They don't normally do 2 major updates in the same month, but it is the anniversary, so maybe that's why. And here's where I go a little bit off the deep end because I have a theory about this. To be clear, there is no confirmation, and I don't want to get your hopes up and be wrong, so please manage your expectations and don't blame me if I'm telling you a lie, okay? There's been a lot of talk about burglars recently. This is the event that just started, the Blast from the Past event, and one of the rewards from this event is these little milk cartons. We're gonna get one of the milk cartons per week. And all these milk cartons have little sim symbols on them. There's like Bella Goth, there's a My Sim character, and if you look really closely at this one, that is a burglar. So it's making me think that maybe, just maybe, we could get burglars back in The Sims. If you didn't play the old Sims games, you're probably sat here thinking like, why would anybody want that? Why does anybody want burglars in this game? I can't really even explain it either. It is really silly, but imagine how fun it would be if someone came to your house, broke in, got this big magic vacuum out and just sucked up and stole your stuff because that's how it worked in the old games. I used to always play legacy challenges back in the day. I mean, I still do. I've always been this way. But picture me, I'm like 10 years old. I'm playing a little legacy challenge in The Sims 3. And when you play a legacy challenge, you start out on a big empty lot with like no money. So it's kind of a grind to earn money to then start buying stuff to build your house up. You finally have enough money to buy a couch. Huge moment for you. You buy the couch, you're sat on it, you're eating your little dinner. In comes the burglar. They walk in, they steal your sofa, they leave. you have no sofa left. And guess what? You can't afford to buy a burglar alarm that's like 1,000 simoleons because you can barely afford to buy a couch. It's horrible and it is so much fun. I miss that. I miss that chaos. It's nice to have more random events in the game. And you might disagree, but things like the alien abduction and like random fires, I love when bad stuff happens to my Sims. So I am really interested in them bringing back burglars, and I've been saying that for ages. So I really hope that this is true. It wouldn't be the first time that they've brought back a really long hoped for sim as well. Back before Eco Lifestyle came out, they finally added firefighters, and that was wild. I can't believe we didn't have firefighters until Eco Lifestyle. But they kind of teased that in the Eco Lifestyle official live stream too. So this being right around the time of the live stream and right before the expansion pack launches, it makes me think that maybe it'll be an update and it might be a burglar update. I hope I'm not wrong because I'm gonna feel really sad and really guilty for getting your hopes up. It has to be big though because they've teased it twice the same way. And obviously after that, I just kind of like brushed over this, but the Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack launches on March 6th. Of course, I'll have early access like normal, so as soon as I can post about it, I will. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel because you're going to want to see that stuff. I don't know what the pack is about yet, but whatever it is, I'll make videos on it. So stay tuned for that. And then we kind of have a break. There's a couple of months of no content. And then on May 1st, they're launching 3 kits. I am not super thrilled about that. I think the kits sound interesting. I don't love that it's 3 on the same day. I was kind of hoping that when that happened a couple weeks ago with my kit and Bella and Dawn's kits that it was like a fluke thing. I figured it was like a special occasion for the Sims anniversary. They threw a whole bunch of kits at us the past couple weeks and I thought maybe it was just like a special time. So there being 3 more coming out in May kind of scares me. I hope that's not just the permanent cadence for kit releases. I feel like it would have been better to release one in April. Like, I think it would have been nicer to split them up a little bit and give each of the kits time to breathe. It's hard because there's just so much going on. Most people don't even know about these kits. You could be watching this video and being like, wait, what? There was kits that came out 2 weeks ago? Yeah, there was 5 kits that came out this month. 5 of them. Can you name all 5? I bet you can't. They're just coming out so often that you cannot keep up. And of course, most people aren't actually gonna buy all of them, but seriously, it is ridiculous. Just on this image alone, there's $55 worth of content being sold to us. We've got a $40 expansion pack and 3 $5 kits. Anyway, let's talk about these for a second. These 3 kits are the Restoration Workshop Kit, the Golden Years Kit, and the Kitchen Clutter Kit. And I have really high hopes about 2 of these. My assumption is that Golden Years is gonna be a cast kit for Elder Sims, and I'm not mad about that. I've been talking about wanting more Elder content for a while. I just personally am not super interested in Create a Sim kits, so I'm never gonna be like over the moon excited about it. However, I do like the idea of more Elder content. The other 2 sound like build kits, which always excites me more. I wanna talk about Kitchen Clutter first because you guys, I pitched that to them. I was told that I shouldn't say like the kits that I pitched when I was talking about my kit, because if I were to list off all the kits that I thought about making and then didn't make, it might disappoint people. But I pitched a kitchen clutter kit. That was on my list. I spent hours making this presentation about a whole kitchen clutter kit. And I'm not saying that they're making this because of me, because I can't claim the idea for kitchen clutter. Everybody wants kitchen clutter. All I'm saying is I've been wanting this, so I am really excited they are making it. In the pitch, I talked a lot about wanting stuff to clutter up open shelving in kitchens. So think things like new cups, new glasses, more bowls and plates. You know, those like plastic containers for your pasta and your rice and your beans, and you've got them all on display. I wanted like food containers. I was thinking about more dirty dishes, maybe stuff that you could use to set a table with as well, like decoratively. My whole thing was that you can't really make a messy looking house in The Sims right now. It's not really easy without using mods and debug to make things look really cluttered and like a person actually lives there. Kitchen clutter is so helpful for making a real home. So I cannot wait for that one. That is maybe my most anticipated Sims kit ever. Also, I did pitch the artist clutter kit to them too, and they made that. So that has me sat here wondering like, what's coming out next? Are they listening to me or am I just lucky? I don't know. More likely, my ideas just align with what the community also wants. So they're making them just on their own, but it's kind of exciting for me. Anyway, we also have the Restoration Workshop Kit, and this is my most unhinged theory yet, okay? I am predicting projecting my own desires onto this pack. When they say restoration workshop, it kind of makes me think of like garage clutter. I'm thinking about like tools and stuff to expand on the handiness skill. Kind of like how the artist studio kit was for the painting skill, but if this was for the handiness skill. But what I want most in the world is to have a garage pack for The Sims. I've been saying this. I don't care about cars. I am past cars. I have more into the loss of cars. I don't expect to see cars. I don't think we're ever gonna get cars. I still want garages though. I want to have a functional garage door. I want to have like the storage a garage can provide. I like to put fake garages in my Sims houses to use for like skill building items. I'm always putting a fake garage and having like the cupcake machine and the gym equipment and all those big things that don't really fit in your house very easily. So I would love to have a garage kit that has stuff to decorate a storage room, a workshop, if you will, including a metal garage door. That is my dream. Again, projecting right now, but what if they're calling it a workshop instead of a garage because the word garage is kind of loaded? Like you can't very well say garage and then not add cars. So they're never gonna use that word. But workshop's fine. A workshop could mean anything. So my hope is that it's a garage kit and they're just saying workshop, but I think I'm probably wrong. I think I'm overthinking it. So we'll see. They also come out on May 1st, which shockingly is really good timing for me because that's the first day of my annual fundraiser. I do a huge charity event every year for the entire month of May over on my Twitch channel. It's a really big deal. I plan it for months. Last year we raised over $600,000. And so there being kits coming out on the first day of the fundraiser is pretty huge because it's a nice draw to the stream, right? I can be like, hey everybody, if you want to see more about the kits, come watch the stream. So I am actually very thankful about that. It also gives me some content to make about all of the new packs for the first week of the fundraiser. So that worked out really well. What works out less well is the expansion pack trailer coming out the week of my wedding. So let's talk about that for a second. I want to go through and look at all the pictures around the outside now. Obviously we talked about pottery already. I hope this is true. There's no way it's fake. This has to be a real feature they're adding. They wouldn't put it so big if they weren't. I have always said that pottery is like the perfect extra hobby. It fits in so well. It could work kind of similar to like the knitting and all the painting. I think it might almost work similar to the jewelry making too, where you can pick like a style and then a color separately. But imagine if your Sims could make things like dishes and pots to put as clutter in their house. It is perfect. It's the perfect skill to add to the Sims. And so the idea of a hobby pack with businesses is very intriguing to me because it makes me think we're gonna get a few extra skills too. If you look a little bit further, this looks like an ad. There's maybe like a little old lady. That sort of seems like the Golden Years kit to me, but underneath it is a spool of thread. So what if they're also adding sewing to this pack? I've been saying sewing too on my list of hobbies I want. The other big one is glass blowing. I don't see anything glass blowing related on here, but I also care about glass blowing less. I have been sewing a lot in real life. That is a hobby that I have recently taken up. Mostly I've made like bags and book sleeves and small things, but I'm actively working on making a quilt right now. It's taken me a while, but I'm in the process of quilting something. So I'm really intrigued by the thought of them adding sewing. We also have been talking about that ever since Life and Death came out because they talked about quilts in the teasers of that pack. It ended up just being a wall decor item, like a wall hanging of a quilt, but I'm still into it. I still think it'd be fun if your Sims could sew clothes, and I think it could work very similar to Nifty Knitting, how you could add them to your wardrobe and stuff. Also down here is just a simoleon. I don't know, it's a business pack, so I'm not surprised. Now this shape of a building is very interesting to me. It looks like it says business. It's supposed to be Simlish, but it's kind of legible as English still. It almost looks like it says open for business. The Sims 2 had a pack called Open for Business. It was a very beloved Sims pack, and I think that people are kind of conflating it with Get to Work a little bit because you can run a retail lot on Get to Work. But imagine this for a second, okay? Because I have a vision of it being very different from Get to Work. Get to Work is about retail stores, specifically running shops or doing active careers. This, I'm thinking, is being about businesses. And I think the key difference in my mind, and I could be so wrong, this is just me hoping, okay? So again, I'm really sorry if I get your hopes up and I am not correct, but this is my thought. Doesn't it look like there's a shop on the ground floor and then like housing above it? What if it's a multi-purpose lot. Because right now you can pretend to live on a retail lot. You can buy a retail lot with Get to Work and then make a fake apartment above it and then just never leave. But it can't actually be your Sims home lot. So they won't get bills to that lot. When your other Sims come home from school or back from work, they'll spawn at the other house, like the real house, not your retail lot where you're living. So you can't really run a business that you live above in the game right now. And ever since we got For Rent, I've been thinking more about this because it's so realistic to live above a shop. So what if that's the new lot type, like a small business lot type where you can physically live next to it or on the same lot somehow? My other thought is, what if it's just a multi-purpose lot in general and you can assign a residential space, a retail space separately? Or maybe if you wanted to have like a retail store and a cafe, you could do both. I've always wanted that too, because sometimes I'll want to make like a row of businesses and I'll build a cafe in one and then a bookstore next to it. But in gameplay, you can't really do that. You can build it and play pretend, but you have to pick one for your Sims. You have to say it's a cafe and there just happens to be a thing that looks like a bookstore next door. So this seems like maybe a good opportunity to pursue that multifunctional lot idea. This style of building also reminds me a lot of the canal houses in Amsterdam. And this is like a new fascination of mine because I went to Amsterdam for the first time in real life last year, and they have a very unique facade on these buildings. You can see the roof line is pretty unique too. I adore this build style. And obviously, like with anything in a city, oftentimes you'll see the ground floor is retail space and people live above them. I even built something like this in The Sims when I got back from Amsterdam last year, so I can link this video down below. This is of course fake. I've got a pool here that looks like a canal and stuff. But when I built this, I decorated the downstairs here to look like a cafe, and this one is a flower shop. And then I decorated above it to be apartments. I had so much fun doing this, and the whole time I was like, wow, it would be really nice if this would work. If this ends up being real, I would be so happy. Also, ignore the weird crop. I only have my thumbnail and I didn't want to see my own face, so I cropped it in because I didn't want to look at her. But back to this for a second. I think that this part is a lollipop. I don't really see how that ties in, but hey, that's nice. We can kind of see some kitchen clutter here. Looks like the kitchen clutter kit. And then this corner looks like maybe it belongs to the workshop kit. It almost looks like this says repair workshop, doesn't it? And there's like a wrench and a gear. Down here, there's Sims with a telescope. This one has like an astronaut helmet on, and there's more wrenches and like little space symbols. And that's kind of throwing me off. It almost makes me think that it's not focused on the handsiness skill and it's more around the rocket science skill. Because we do have that big rocket ship and like no clutter or decor that makes sense with it. So I guess it wouldn't be weird if they were to try to expand upon that a little bit and give you more stuff for it. Again, kind of like the artist kit gives you more art studio stuff. If this gave you like rocket ship lab stuff, but that's not my dream. I don't want that. I want handsiness skill, fake garage stuff. That's what I'm hoping for. I just don't know what to make of this with the telescope. Above it, there's a plumb bob. I doubt that means anything special. And then up here, we have some money. Doesn't it kind of look like this just says rich with the stacks of money? Which is funny because this pack is very Stanley Humphrey coded. The whole Motherload season, businesses and hobbies. If there's one guy who knows about businesses and hobbies, it is my weenie sim. He is gonna thrive with a pack like this. Especially because there's at least 2 new skills that he could do, maybe. Okay, but also I have no idea what to make of this. It looks like it says no suspicious. And then I don't know what this is supposed to say. I don't think it says anything in English. Same with this, I can't really make out anything from this part, but it's like crossing off a detective, maybe? To me, that symbol looks like a detective or a private investigator, but maybe it could be a criminal? This is me getting on the burglar thing again, but maybe they're saying no criminals? I don't know. We already have a detective career. We don't have a private investigator, but like, how does that tie in with running this? But maybe you could run a private investigator small business? Because doing that is different from working as a detective, so we'll see. I'm really curious to hear if you've got any thoughts about this in the comments. We can chat about it together. Obviously, I'm recording this before the roadmap is out, so nobody else has seen this yet and nobody else has talked about it. I am on my own trying to theorize. So it's very possible that I'm embarrassing myself right now, but it's fine. What? What? What does that mean? I could be reading into that a lot. I have no clue what they're trying to say with that. I'm not sure what a lot of these symbols on this side mean. And then there's like a pen up here. I don't know if I should read into that either because it just seems like a pen. We'll see. It's gonna be very funny to look back on this video once the packs are actually out and like compare what I thought was gonna happen to what actually does happen. And I guess we're gonna find out a lot more tomorrow. So of course, stay tuned for that trailer reaction video tomorrow. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And before I go, I have one more thing I wanna show you because they sent me a box of like presents for the 25th birthday. I did unfortunately open this without you, but I thought I'd still show you the stuff because it's kind of cute. It even had this really cool Sims tape on it. It says Soul Soul, obviously it's ripped in half. This first thing is so random. It is a Freezer Bunny ice pack. I don't have an ice pack, so I actually am very glad to have this, but I was never expecting to open this box and find an ice pack inside. It says that it can also be microwaved to heat it up, which is kind of cool. And I don't even own an ice pack, so I'm glad to have it. We also got this really neon hat that says Soul Soul. This is the same text that was on the box. I'm a big pin person though, and look, it has like a simoleon symbol and then the number 25, which is kind of fun because it's the 25th anniversary. We also got this llama keychain, and I now have multiple Sims keychains. I like that it has a plumb bob though. I keep my Sims keychain on my purse, so maybe I'll just add a second one. Oh, I should have started here. This is the card. I am gonna pin this up on my corkboard in my office because how cute is that cow plant? Here's the inside. It says, "You're invited. We're celebrating the 25th birthday." That was paraphrasing. That wasn't the exact words, but it's cute, right? We also got a disposable camera. I am scared to use this. I'm like kind of scared to take it out and then open it up and waste it. But I guess that's a bad way of thinking about it because it's wasting it to not use it, right? But that is really fun. This disposable Sims camera, I'm gonna keep that forever. This thing is like a water bottle, but it's like the milk cartons from the event. So it's got Bella Goth on it. I don't see myself using this because the stuff on the front is a sticker. So I'm kind of nervous about it coming off or getting ruined if it gets wet. And I don't really want to test it either, but you can open it from here to drink out of it. And you can also twist, oops, if I can, you can also twist the lid off so you can clean it out and stuff in there. This is a very interesting keepsake. So I will be keeping this. If you're a newer Sims player, you might have missed this lore from back in the day, but there's a whole thing about the original Bella Goth. She was missing. So it's kind of like a missing poster on the milk carton. On the theme of cups, we have a literal cup. This is supposed to be a collector's edition cup. It says limited edition on the front. Here's kind of an up close view, but it's covered in like really cool Sims symbols. I think I'm gonna keep this on my desk and use it for pens and stuff. Hold on, I have this from Brick City right now, but I can replace it. Okay, they don't really fit very well, but imagine how cute that would be with my little pens on my Sims cup. This next one is really out there. This is an oven candle. I've never had one of these candles before that's like specially shaped. I've only ever had candles that are in jars. So I'm really excited about this thing. I'm never gonna light it. I'm not trying to waste this. But if you look up close, it's got like stovetop texture. There's a plumb bob on the front, and then you can literally set an oven on fire in real life, which is kind of silly. And then last, but certainly not least, there is a Seasons of the Sims calendar. There's not anything written in here, so like the inside doesn't have any like secret dates or anything, but look what it does have. Big Burglar page. So I don't want to read into this, but Burglars being on the page in March and this expansion pack coming out, this just feels like maybe it's on purpose. There's kind of a view of what all the pages look like. There's a big mix of in-game screenshots and various games. What I'm kind of stuck on is November. I don't want to read into this too much, okay? But assuming the burglar thing is true, why do they have this random picture of bands? Because people have been talking about wanting bands for a really long time. That's like one of the biggest requests right now for The Sims also. It's like fairies, bands, really frequently talked about. Is this just an unfortunate coincidence, or are they telling us that the expansion pack that comes out this year is gonna be bands? Because we always get a pack around October, November time. So what if it has bands? I don't wanna get my hopes up too high. That might be like a little bit too far out there because this isn't supposed to be a public calendar. Like this was a gift for Sims creators. And I doubt they would be hinting at stuff in this random gift because like these other things don't mean anything. So why would this? But what if it does? What if it does mean something? I got my clown hat and my clown nose on though because the last time this happened, we were way off. They sent out these postcards that were like greetings from Henford on Bagley before Cottage Living got announced. And there was this whole thing about how the pack was coming out on Henry Ford's birthday and he grew up on Bagley Street. And Henry Ford obviously is like a big historical car mogul in America. You probably heard of the car brand Ford. So people saw this Hen Ford on Bagley sign and they were like, oh my God, they're hinting at cars. Of course, they were not hinting at cars. There were no cars. It was a very unfortunate coincidence. The name is just supposed to mimic British towns and hen is like a chicken. It's a farming pack. But yeah, that was a major clown car moment for us. So I'm worried that today I'm in the clown car again. We shall see what happens. But I think on that note, I should end this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you've got any theories, let me know in the comments down below. Let's talk about it. And I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow. Okay, bye everybody. Can I just say, I love and cherish these gifts that The Sims sends me. I keep these on display. Like, I am maybe the world's biggest Sims fan. So having this stuff is so cool for me and I am just so grateful.